Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another 10-minute investor eye test. This is Sasha with Arcanum Ventures. I'm here with my good friend and colleague, Carmelo, and today we are taking a dive into MegaETH, the first real-time blockchain, whatever that means. I have no idea. Carmelo, do you know what that means?
No, I've been hearing about it for over a year, and I still have no idea what it is. And I feel like I might be dyslexic because every time I see it mentioned in chat, I think it's somebody saying MegaDeath, and then I'm thinking like, what Mega ETH is a very weird name. It's just putting Mega in front of a thing that already exists. But yeah, I'm excited to learn about it because I have no idea what they're doing. I didn't even know it was a blockchain. I thought it was like a staking platform.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure either. And like with a name like MegaETH, you kind of discredit yourself already. We've seen a lot of like copycat companies over the past several years that kind of like ride some hype wave by using like a similar name. You see it with everything really, like Blast, Blast Off, Blast Pad, all these things. But I do know that MegaETH has some pretty crazy backers, so maybe there's something to this project.
So what you're saying is we should be launching Mega Bitcoin soon?
I'm 100% game for Mega Bitcoin. It might do well.
It's even better than the original.
Yeah, but for those that are unfamiliar with the concept, we're going to take 10 short minutes to evaluate MegaETH, and make sure you wait until the end where you hear our verdicts, where we give either a thumbs up, we would invest in this, or thumbs down, this is something that we would not consider investing in, maybe even that elusive thumb sideways, where it kind of piques our interest. We want to learn more, but definitely not investable right now. And Carmelo, without any further ado, we can start the clock when you're ready.
Yep, ready.
All right, 10 minutes on MegaETH starting right. Meow. Okay, and we've got crypto rank up, and this is the platform that we're using just to learn a little bit about MegaETH. We see that they've raised $57 million already. That's insane. And check out some of
Well,
these backers.
we saw Barachain raised $142 million last week, so maybe this is a more modest sum of money comparatively. But yeah, they have
Absolutely.
Vitalik Buterin on board, the original mind behind Ethereum. So that's a good person to have on board, believing in you if you're going to be capitalizing on the name ETH. So I guess it's warranted and sanctioned and whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got Dragonfly Capital, Robot Ventures, Big Brain Holdings, some big names, even Kobe or Kabi.
Yeah, I don't see him investing much. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I wonder what's happening here. But like I said, this is known as the first real-time blockchain. I'm not sure what that means because I'd be very disappointed to hear that other blockchains are not real-time, like they're not settling transactions immediately, or that data that they're storing on chain is not available immediately. So I'm not sure what that means yet.
Yeah, so like Analog, that another blockchain that we invested in, they're the time chain, so they're also heavily focused on time, and I think like logging all of the chronological order of every transaction on every chain, all on one chain, storing that information like a kind of like a proof of history almost, or proof of time. So I don't know how this is different, or if it's doing something anything remotely close, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Let's check out the website.
And even more
Whoa.
importantly, you and I have checked out some blockchains lately, but it's not enough anymore to just say, "Oh, there's a blockchain with a token," because a lot of these tokens they do completely different things, and we don't know what we're investing in. So that's the crux of it. We want to figure out what the token actually does, and if it's worthwhile for an investment into the Mega ETH token or whatever they're calling it.
This is a very good point because what investors had bought when it comes to Barachain, at least in the token, is part of a pretty convoluted token economy where there's like several other fungible assets, including inflationary assets, where there's an unlimited supply. And so like these governance tokens, these Barachain governance tokens that are earned can be converted into Bara tokens. So you're not really sure what you're buying there as a token investor unless you're diving deep into some of that documentation and figuring out what does that Bara token actually get you. But here, I think we need to like figure out how the Mega ETH token ties into this real time use of the blockchain. And as you can see here, the website's kind of crazy. It's got some like Donnie Darko vibes with this character here.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that before. Yeah, I like the website. It's a cool branding. Um, Not sure where they're going with it though. Okay, so here's your typical. We do a lot of transactions
Hmm. So
very
it's
quickly.
settled on Ethereum. So is it a layer two scaling solution?
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, Vitalik Buterin himself always intended for Ethereum not to be the scaling solution. He wanted L2s and L3s to help with that. So it makes sense that he would invest and back something that he believes to be the most capable contender for that. Not that there's just going to be one, but he's obviously invested emotionally and financially in making Ethereum work better. So it makes sense.
That's a good point. I really do love this visual here, and it might not be 100% accurate, but it gives you a good idea of, like, for example, traditional blockchain. They're not really calling out Ethereum, but this is how the majority of like layer ones kind of work. And you have like a single block that is housing, like an aggregate of transactions that are being recorded the blockchain. And what MegaETH, I guess, according to this infographic is showing us is it kind of like packages smaller transactions for a higher throughput. But what it's not really telling you is that this all these transactions are essentially getting packaged the same way onto Ethereum here as it's being claimed here. It's being settled on Ethereum. So if it is like a scaling solution, then it's maybe competing against Arbitrum or Optimism or ZK Sync era.
Yeah, it reminds me of that little application that we used to use where it represented everything, every transaction as a little character at a train station, and it would show them waiting for the train and
Oh yeah.
getting on. And
T-
yeah, I mean, if this is a more efficient way to package up blocks and put them on the base chain on Ethereum, then that's interesting. I don't know how they do it yet, but it
yeah,
does look
talking
like they're
about
trying to steal
EX
that
Street.
metally Megadeth branding, right? Look at that hat.
I mean, it
Isn't that
is definitely
crazy?
mega. Yeah, it's Megadeth branding. Like you can't avoid that.
It's
Mega
actually the
Mafia.
exact same. It's the same font too, like the exact same
Yeah.
font as the logo of Megadeth. I'm not crazy.
I mean, its branding's pretty good. I like it, but yeah, like if I was Megadeth, I might consider suing.
Yeah, suit.
But I guess I'm not sure what this is. Maybe this is like a scroll of the ecosystem. They've got Lemonade, Pump Party, Euphoria. Um, but yeah, I guess we have to dive deeper into the documentation to figure out what real time blockchain means, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, from my guess, it means processing as it happens, like that graphic showed. So
Mhm.
there's no wait time. There's no lag. It just instantly processes blocks.
I've got what appears to be like a kind of white paper link up here. It says it's an EVM compatible chain that brings Web 2 level real time performance to the crypto world for the first time. So I guess what they might be referring to is like a traditional payment solution, like how a blockchain might compete against Visa, where you don't really have like that intermittent time between blocks settling onto the main chain. And so, why does the world need another blockchain? Obviously, it's just better transaction speed, better block time. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we
yeah.
could spend days on figuring out how the actual blockchain works, but I think it's more important to figure out what the token does because aside from thinking, is this worth spending my time looking at and spending my money to invest in, we got to figure out like what the actual asset does itself.
Yeah, I mean there's discussion of nodes, and so I'm interested to see like what the consensus mechanism kind of looks like, especially if they have this like these micro transact or micro blocks being pushed through that's going to like cut
Yeah.
down on the intermittent time between blocks settling. And there's a lot of interesting information here. I wish we had more time to run through it, but we got to figure out like yeah, what does the token do and how does it allow this settlement?
And I think one quick note to note it, they're doing like some weird NFT launch too. I think it's like a
Mm.
new way to launch their token. So I don't know if you buy NFTs and then you get dropped a certain amount of tokens, but we're starting to see that a little bit more. So I think they're taking a strange approach to launching this, which might be good for them. I mean, it's good to innovate and do different things and show people you can launch tokens in different ways.
That's a good point. I mean, I think it's a similar route that Barachain took when it comes to distributing tokens via airdrop. Right? They sold a bunch of NFTs to people, and then depending on like the supply of NFTs that you held, you'd be eligible for an airdrop once the mainnet went live. But
Yeah.
as far as like this page goes, if this is what you might refer to as the Mega ETH white paper, like this is definitely piquing my interest. I see a lot of very cool infographics, a lot of technical jargon, numbers, a lot of stuff that's really interesting my engineer mind. So I would love to dive deeper into this and understand like what more of this means. But I'm not seeing anything that's very accessible for the everyday investor or casual visitor of the site around what does the token do and how does the blockchain kind of work, right?
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point. We always look at this through our own eyes, but you know, different kinds of investors approach these things differently. So maybe your typical retail person might not look through all this, but on the other side, they don't have all the resources of a VC or a fund like behind them. So maybe they, sometimes these casual retails are doing better research than VCs. I've seen
Hmm.
some really crazy articles written by random people that aren't affiliated with any institution. They're putting out amazing research because they don't have that advantage that VCs do of getting to talk to all these teams and be in the events. So they have to go above and beyond. So maybe they are diving deeply into this. I don't know if our viewers are, but
Yeah. Shout out Roaring Kitty. I see up here Mega ETH. I almost said Megadeth. Mega ETH testnet in 30 days. The Fluffle NFT is out now. And so I think, Mega ETH is being advertised on a number of different platforms as having an ICO coming up soon. So I'm not sure when the mainnet is actually launching. We don't know if the token is being launched on Ethereum or some other network and then being ported over with the mainnet. That's our 10 minutes on Megadeth, unfortunately.
maybe we can cheat a little bit. I just want to see anything about the token.
Well, I didn't see anything on the website there. And so
No, nothing.
I'm I'm wondering like if there's maybe a different page that we can look at, but I really didn't see anything around the token. And I didn't see anything on the website either as far as like alternative links to a white paper. So maybe it's safe to say the majority of information that they're communicating to people that are visiting is just around like the technical aspects of how the blockchain works and functions, which is interesting, right?
I do see something here that says MegaETH, an Ethereum Layer 2 project, will launch its new NFT series, the Fluffle, on 12th of February 2025. The collection includes 10,000 soul-bound, non-fungible tokens, each representing a 5% stake in the MegaETH network.
Hmm.
The sale is expected to generate 10,000 ETH, which could total around 28 million at current Ether prices.
Wow. These guys are aiming high, right?
I don't understand though. 10,000 soul-bound, non-fungible tokens, each representing a 5% stake in the MegaETH network. That doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, maybe they're referring to like this slice of 10,000 NFTs representing 5%,
Yeah, but
which
yeah, the way they said it is like they each get 5%. But yeah, that seems more likely. To
that makes more sense because I think I saw some like preliminary numbers around the anticipated FDV of like 600 million or something. And so, 28 million.
yeah, 560 million at that
Yeah.
valuation,
Yeah,
5%.
that valuation is close. It's
So
close with a premium. So maybe they're going to be selling additional sets of NFTs. That's going to, uh, you know, allocate like an additional slice of the token supply to them, additional 5% or 5%, who knows? But 28 million from an NFT sale, that's a lot, and that's a lot of money going to them in potential token value, especially if like this does anything close to what Barachain did on
mhm.
valuation. Like that might be a pretty decent investment, but not financial advice.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I have no idea how it's going to go, but I like this idea kind of using NFTs as a fundraising mechanism. Not in the last cycle way where you're launching profile pictures, but it feels like a more egalitarian way to invite more people to invest. Like buy this
Mhm.
thing that anybody can buy. You don't have to sign a fancy SAFT or, I mean, it also leaves you exposed to potential fraud and scams. But if it's a reputable company, I think MegaETH, everybody knows them. They're backed by huge people, including Vitalik. So they're not going to run away with your money. So buying an NFT is a way for anybody to invest, sort of like a VC would. And I don't know if these VCs took different deals or if they bought a different pack of NFTs, like you said, or if they just invested straight up with a SAFT or a SAFE in the pre-sale rounds. But it's interesting nonetheless. And yeah, I guess it's verdict time because we don't have a whole lot of more information to go off.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we dive in, I'd like to remind all of our viewers, if you're enjoying this content, if you're enjoying our skepticism or maybe our enthusiasm, make sure you tap that like button. Make sure you stick around, give us a follow. We've got some more exciting content coming out and some exciting interviews. So yeah, without further ado, Carmelo, you want to start on your verdict or would you like me to go?
Yeah, I'll go. It's going to be relatively quick because, like I said, we don't have so much information based off the last 10 minutes. Just going off of like my gut and seeing who's backing this and how often I hear it mentioned, I'd say it's probably worth taking a time to look into. And going back to the beginning of the video, I think you made a mistake saying one thumb up means we would invest. But the whole point of this video is, as we both know, is
Yes.
would you look more into it? Because we would never ever, as a VC, and I think retail too should never do this, but never make an investment decision based off 10 minutes. Like this is just the beginning of the due diligence process. So based off the beginning of this due diligence, I think I would put more time into MegaETH. I'm definitely, any hat you can put on from a marketing or an engineer background or a coder, it's definitely interesting. Or token economic design, like you and I design tokens. We try to figure out new ways to launch assets. This seems to be like an interesting way to do it. So I would love to look deeper into what they're doing. I would love to see why the backers believe in them and why they're throwing money into this and why they chose to name it MegaETH and if they get sued by MegaETH eventually. But yeah, I say one thumb up. I think it looks cool enough to warrant digging into it more deeply.
All right, I like that verdict. But I want to remind you, there was one case where we gave one thumb, maybe it was two thumbs up that we would invest, and it was meme coin. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, meme land or meme coin. No, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if I mean, yeah, there was literally nothing left to discover in that. It was just everything was out on the table already.
It was so good.
Nothing
Even there were
left.
like legal disclaimers, like our lawyers want us to tell you that this is nothing and you should not buy it.
Maybe that simplicity is how you get a quick decision to invest. Like, don't overthink this. We don't do anything.
Yeah,
Look
maybe our
at our
producer
Twitter.
can put that meme coin video up here on this video, the link. But I think my verdict is kind of similar. I'm going to give it one thumb sideways just because we have to go back to the fundamentals and how we evaluate L1s or L2s, I guess, in this case. But the information that we've consumed so far is very builder focused. I think there's a lot of interesting things around the branding or what they chose to show on like the marketing side. But when it comes to the actual technical stuff and that like kind of white paper that we showed, it's very technical. There's a lot of very niche things that the majority of people evaluating this wouldn't understand. I'm very interested to dive deeper into seeing what that looks like and why it's important and how this differentiates MegaETH from other blockchains. We didn't see that when looking at Berachain. In fact, there was very little technical information on Berachain at all. They just kept plastering this proof of liquidity across the board with some strange token economy design. It was very much marketing focused. But what we didn't see here for MegaETH is a lot of information around the ecosystem, what building is happening there, what kind of projects are they onboarding or actively trying to pursue, what partnerships have they established. We did see Vitalik's name and a couple other big VC names plastered across the website, but that was pretty much it. We didn't have time to look into the team or the socials, unfortunately, but that just goes to show you that 10 minutes is not enough time to do your due diligence. But I will give it one thumb sideways. Like, I would not consider investing in it at this point. I'd venture to guess like the majority of other investors probably invested in equity or some sort of like actual ownership of the company in addition to the token. So the token is not something I'd be willing to dive into considering the information that we saw so far or lack of. But I definitely want to learn more. I think there can be something cool here, especially around the real-time blockchain and that infographic alone showing us something that we haven't seen before when it comes to blockchain transaction batching and settlement. So that's my take. And I'd like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in, watching this week's episode on MegaETH. If you guys, again, would like to throw us a like or subscribe, if you have some comments on what projects you want us to look at, make sure you leave a comment below, and we'll follow up. But until then, stay safe, y'all. Ciao.